So in this section, we learned a lot of things. We learned about navigation, the need for us to navigate, for instance, from one screen to the next, and how traditionally we used to use just intents and start activity, which is fine, but until we get to the point where we need something more complex. So the solution in this case, we learned there is this navigation component in Jetpack, which allows us to use the tools and libraries for handling complex navigation cases in Android. And so we also learned that navigation component has three major parts working together. The first one is navigation graph, then we have nav host, navigation host, and the navigation controller. So each part that we talked about of the navigation component, we learn how to look at it as a diagram, as a hierarchy, if you will. So we have navigation component, which has, in this case, nav controller. Inside of nav controller, we will have nav host, and nav host will have nav graph. So the graph in this case, the nav controller is the central API that instructs navigation to happen. For instance, we can say navigation.navigate and passing the route. Okay, and the nav host, navigation host, this is where all of navigation graph items are hosted. So this is where everything is swapped out to show each composable destination or screen when users navigate to a new screen. Okay, and the navigation graph, as the name implies, is just a graph that holds all of the items, all of the composables, all of the screens. But most importantly, also these nodes, because it's a graph, they also carry more information about the navigation. This is what we've learned in this section. We use an example of a movie app where we have a list, of course, using LazyColumn, and when we click on each item list, we're taken using navigation component, we're taken to a description screen. Okay, again, the nav graph, just look at nav graph as the screens, right? The composable in this case that users can navigate to. So I hope this section was helpful, and I'll see you next time.